The Galactic Union had one law above all: never touch time travel. It wasn't just forbidden, it was feared, a dark scar from a forgotten past when one species tried to rewrite history and nearly shattered reality itself. Every member race agreed time was dangerous, and anyone who dared to explore it would be erased without question. But humans were new, and rules never stopped them before. Dr. Elena Ross, a stubborn physicist with a history of breaking limits, believed the Union was hiding something. Her team operated in silence, far from Earth, aboard a hidden station orbiting a dead star. There, they built Docklight, not just a ship, but a device meant to fold time like paper. The project was top secret. Not even Earth's leaders knew the full truth. Elena didn't want permission. She wanted results. When the test sequence began, power flickered across dimensions. Time didn't break, it flexed. The stars outside shimmered like glass underwater. For a moment, the crew heard voices they hadn't spoken yet, saw shadows of things that hadn't happened. The ship remained still, but everyone knew something had changed. Far across the galaxy, forgotten sensors blinked awake. A warning spread across ancient alien networks. Someone had opened the door they swore never to touch again. Docklight didn't move through time the way anyone expected. Instead, time moved through the crew. Engineer Noah collapsed, clutching his head as flashes of another life invaded his mind, a world where Earth was silent, its cities turned to dust by a war that had never happened. Captain Wren saw himself giving orders in a ship that hadn't yet been built. Dr. Elena's hand trembled as she touched the console, feeling the presence of something ancient, watching her from the folds of time. Outside the ship, the stars were wrong. Docklight had slipped into a time when the galaxy still held secrets, now long buried. Sensors picked up a faint signal, one older than anything in the Union's database. It was from a species thought extinct before written records began, the Ashari, a race erased from history after a catastrophic war no one could explain. But now they were speaking again, and their signal wasn't random. It was a reply. Elena realized they had done more than test time. They had sent a message backward, and someone had answered. Across the galaxy, alarm systems lit up in Union command. What was supposed to be impossible had just become undeniable. And humanity had made first contact with yesterday. When Docklight returned to normal space, everything had changed. The galaxy they knew was gone, star systems had shifted, familiar names had vanished, and Earth was now listed on Union channels as a Class A temporal threat. Elena and her crew were no longer scientists, they were fugitives. The worst part wasn't the fear of being hunted, it was the realization that they had awakened something ancient. The Ashari, long believed extinct, had returned. But they weren't the same. Twisted by time itself, they now moved in strange ways, speaking in voices that echoed from multiple moments at once. Union history had no memory of them because the Ashari had been erased by a timeline reset long ago. But Docklight's jump had reopened that sealed path. Now the Ashari were rising again, not just in one time, but in many, rewriting events with each breath. They saw time not as a river, but as a battlefield. The Union panicked, blaming Earth for the rupture, declaring war on humanity. Docklight became a ghost ship, chased across ages by both Ashari hunters and Union enforcers. Elena knew the truth: they hadn't broken time, they had uncovered a trap buried in it. And the ones who set it were finally waking up. The war didn't begin with guns or fleets, it began with memories. Docklight became more than a ship. It became a moving crack in time, slipping through centuries, learning from each timeline it touched. Every time the crew jumped, they left behind whispers, instructions, even tools buried in forgotten places. Soon, hidden allies started to rise, humans who had never boarded Docklight but somehow knew exactly what to do. A child in the year 3097 activated an old satellite and sent coordinates backward. A soldier in 2145 found a strange device buried under ice, left there by his own great-granddaughter. The Ashari fought back with terrifying precision, rewriting history with every breath. But humans had something the Ashari didn't understand: chaos, stubbornness, and the will to survive even in impossible conditions. Captain Wren split Docklight across 3 timelines at once, sending fragments of the ship and crew to carry out a coordinated strike on an Ashari time fortress that existed in multiple eras. The Union, still fearing both sides, tried to erase them all, but couldn't keep up with the ripples. Every Ashari victory was undone by a human action planted earlier. Elena used a paradox loop to trap an entire Ashari fleet inside a second they couldn't escape from. They screamed across time, but no help came. Slowly, the galaxy began to shift again, not toward order, but toward a strange new future built by humans who refused to stay still. The war didn't just echo backward or forward, it echoed inward, changing the hearts of those who once feared Earth. For the first time, species who had once mocked humanity started asking a different question: if humans could fight time itself, what else were they capable of? The answer was coming. And it wasn't over yet. Docklight was breaking apart, not from damage, but from time itself pulling in too many directions. Each crew member now carried different memories of battles won and lost, of timelines that existed only for moments before collapsing. Elena stood at the command deck, surrounded by shifting images of herself from other versions of reality, each one with a different outcome, a different cost. They had reached the center of the Ashari's power, a core wrapped in unstable time where past, present, and future existed at once. There was only one way to end it: the Docklight Protocol, a final sequence meant to merge every successful outcome from all split timelines into one stable future. It had never been tested because it could never be undone. With a single command, Docklight triggered the merge. Time screamed. Ashari fleets vanished in reverse, their victories eaten by causality itself. The Union's war declarations faded like forgotten dreams. The stars returned to the right places, but some things stayed changed: memories that shouldn't exist, scars from wars that technically never happened. Earth was no longer feared openly, but no one looked at humans the same way again. Elena and her crew were gone from history, their names lost, their actions erased to keep the timeline clean. But legends remained of a ship that walked time, of humans who touched forbidden power and used it not to rule, but to reset the board. The galaxy returned to peace, but hidden in the deep files of Union records was one silent warning: if time shifts again, look for the Docklight. And far beyond mapped space, where no ships traveled, a faint signal still blinked in the dark, steady, waiting, and alive. Because time may forget, but humans always leave a trail.